So a friend of a friend sent me his 68 Mustang. Needs a bunch of work. None of the body lines line up, as you can see here in the video. The trunk doesn't line up. If you look at the, like right over the tail lights, you can see that the trunk is, kind of bent off, cattywampus. The car was rear-ended. It just was never repaired properly. And what he originally wanted was just to get the body lines to line back up. I said, the car's 4 hours away. The best thing to do is just get it to me. So he sent me these photos, and the more I looked at the photos, the more I noticed like how bad things truly were. The end caps right here, they didn't look so bad. These were kind of the photos that you get on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, that good angles, the best angles of the car. But when you get there, it looks completely different in person. And that's what I got shown on the photos. And I was just like, that was rust on the frame. This door is actually closed. You can see how large that gap is. Here it is. It's at my shop. I'm kind of going over things here.
Disassembly of this car. And the more I find, the more I take this car apart to figure out what they did. They took off the end caps. But you sealed it, but you didn't paint it. You didn't even bother to take off the gas filler neck for the original T-color car, Fred. You got big rust hole gaps underneath that you could have filled a trunk or just cut the trunk out and replaced it. You didn't bother to clean anything. There's paint. There's trash in the paint. Like, so bad. All over the car. Not to mention these massive scratches. Hang on. I get it right there. See those? Look at that. That's like 180. Not to mention the trash. But this is what really pisses me off. Look at this. The windshield. I just took the chrome trim off the windshield. Look at this. I'm going to push from the inside. See that? Let me put it here to stabilize it on the car. I could literally push this entire windshield out by hand. They never sealed it to the car. If this dude got into a front end accident or, God forbid, something else, maybe just hit the brakes too hard, the windshield could have flew out the car. A pothole would have made this windshield fly out the car. This is just in here by the gasket and the gasket only. They didn't even take the trim off to paint it. Or they did, because you resealed the windshield. But bro, look at that. There's no prep in here. My customer, I'm sorry that you ever went through something like this. So we're gonna get her right. She's gonna be right and tight. This car was treated like absolute dog crap. Okay. And look how good the engine bay looks. Like, this guy actually cares about his car. Cares about his car. Okay. We go to the interior. This door over here was so bad that it was literally sagging on the hinge. See, look at that. No sag. No sag. Nice body line. But they messed up the gap, so I'm going to have to body work that. There's no way I'm getting that back in there. But look, no sag. Closes perfectly fine now. This is the interior. Interior is beautiful. And this is one of the doors that I haven't fixed yet, but this is what they did over here. Look at this door. It won't close all the way. You gotta slam it, and then watch, it'll drop. See how it drops? I can't even close the door again without slamming it and it scratching up the striker plate, the kick panel plate down here. So this is gonna have to get readjusted like the other side. Look at the trim. All the trim was pushed down in the window and they never pulled it back up. Now the trim is permanently damaged because they thought they could just get away with just tucking it. Tucking it. They didn't even bother taking this off. This has got paint on it. Look at the door handle. The rubber's on the door handle. They just painted the rubber gasket that goes in between here. Okay. For me to make this video, I'm probably going to have to stop talking on it and do a voiceover. But it's that bad. Like you can see where they painted the gasket. So, yeah. It's permanently damaged. Gasket. Paint. Paint on the gasket. Yeah. Let me come around here. Look at this. Look how far that's off. Look over here. Look how far that's off. It's crazy. You got that right there. Then you got this right here. And it's still off. Look at this paint. Look at this. Okay. So I started on a lot of the body work. Just didn't want to bore you guys with just, sanding and all that. I did a lot. I got to, smooth out a lot of these major scratches, fix a lot of the alignment issues. This door I haven't touched yet. That's just a before and after. Keep me motivated. A little peace, I guess you want to say. So, as you can see, just body working this thing, I've got a better reflection, a better smooth surface than a finished surface than what they gave me. But I said it was a lot of detail. I tried to just do what I could as far as leaving everything on the car, trying not to take off as much as I did have to. But it just got to the point where I said, I'm basically spinning my wheels. I've got to do too much. Like, he didn't even want to replace this little lower rocker. I'm like, it was, $100 online somewhere. So I had to fix that. I wanted to help the guy a lot. And I did. I helped him out a lot. And I think I did a little too much more than what I should have on this repair. But it's one of those things where, it's got your name on it and it's an overall deal. It wasn't even supposed to be this much work. As much as I want to say I'm done with the Mustang, it is not the case. It is absolutely not the case. I've got parts everywhere. I've got little dings everywhere. I got to rebag this. This fell out because we're going so deep, and the way this is designed, the headliner literally wraps around the front. So there are replacement headliners for that, but he just had that done. So we're trying to keep that clean as much as possible. I've got like little spots on the doors that I got to fix. Like right in there. That's when I was test fitting the fender and it dinged up against there. There's another little spot. It's kind of... most people wouldn't know, but I know it's there. So I'm going to fix it. There's another little spot like right here, and I know that's going to show up through the clear coat. I'm not really worried about this right here because that's the door handle. The door handle area is going to cover all this up. It's going to really, you know, it's a gasket there and it's a big handle. You're not going to see that. I am going to try to clean this little spot up right here. But for the most part, I'm not worried about that. Not worried about that. As far as this goes right here, the door is kind of bowed. I really don't want to push on it. I might try to shove it from the inside to see if I can get it to pop out just a little bit, but I don't want to shove it too much and cause a different type of damage. You know, I'm going for perfect, but the customer is not. He's not expecting that. That's some paint chippage from when I rehung the door, so I need to scuff that. I got a small little wood right there, small little spot right there that I want to fix. As far as the recorder, I molded everything in. That's dust. So the end caps are now one. So all this is smooth. There's going to be like a little bump here where it used to be. It's not going to transition down like a super slick, but if you got a Mustang and you know about these end caps, a lot of people probably want to flush mount them in. The body line on that's pretty straight. Let me turn the camera back. Body line on that's pretty straight. And like I said, it's not a lot of filler in there at all. I just worked the metal, as you can see, and I'm trying to get it to level out for y'all. But it's still gonna have some original body lines to it. That's all slicked in. I do have a little filler right here I need to get out from when I smoothed everything out. But for the most part, that's metal. You know, it's just a little bit of, that's metal right here. So like I said, it's not a lot of filler at all. Same thing over here. You know, got the body line pretty snug. Pretty straight where I'm at right there. Molded it in. The car was hit from the back. So basically, this is just like a base coat that's on the car that I put on it, and then went back and tested. I bought a gallon of this stuff, so I got plenty of paint, so I'm not worried about the paint unless it gets knocked over. I do need to go inside and take these out. There are 2 bolts or 3 bolts on the inside, 2 or 3, I can't remember. But this is what the original paint on the car looked like. It was really, really wavy, really, really bad. Lots of trash in the paint, as you can see. I mean, it looked like they sanded it with like 80 grit and then painted over it, because you can see, I don't know if you can see right here. The camera's not really picking it up, but like right in there with that light shining, those are sanding marks. Like right in here. You have to really pay attention to it. If you're a painter. I'm not the best, but even this, look, they did this. Like, this wasn't something that hit the car afterwards. This is leftover body work, man. It's just attention to detail. Like I said, I know I'm gonna have some spots in it. It's not gonna be perfect. The car was hit. It's twisted a little bit. Man, that's a little wavy. This is supposed to be rolled under and it's pulled out. It's just there's some spots. There's some spots that I wish I could make better. I could make better. I just don't have the time to make it better. I've had the car too long. Like, I'm gonna paint the car, the entire car, without the front fenders on, so all this can get painted properly. And attention to, you know, attention to detail. I'm not taking this door off the car. I'm gonna paint it on the car. And I still need to remove the trim panels there, the rubbers here. I need to take that off. I'm going to repaint the door jamb like I did the other side. Yeah, she's pretty gutted for the most part. But I got to take apart this side right here, like that side over there. I need to roll that window up and get the bolts out for this guy right here. So that's how you got to get that out. It's not complicated. It's not held in by a lot. The original color of the car was red, as you can see. It was candy apple red. But then it got painted this green color. This green color here. So I decided to switch it up and go the route of a... Did I paint this? Okay, I need to tape that up because I thought I got... It does have paint on it. I didn't do this, but the previous painter did. I'd say because I knew I had it down and away pretty good where it didn't get paint on it. But there was a hole up here on the roof. It's gone. So like I said, I did paint the car already once, except for this door. I've done everything. I've sanded this entire car, but this door, and there's a rocker behind there, and the rear rocker's behind there. This is the front rocker. Motor's in great shape, so we're gonna bag this off, the entire front half of the car, bag it off, and then get after it. So I don't want to make this too long of a video. Oh, here's the fenders. So here's the fenders right here. So I got like a little damage on the paint work there. So I did paint this already. I'll put some pictures up before if you haven't seen them before already. And there's a little damage there on that corner, so I'm gonna fix that little lip off. There's a little nick right here somewhere, right there. I'm gonna fix that. And then, like I told you before, when I was putting the fender on, I bumped this pretty good, so it's got like a little cave spot there. It's got a little mark there. And I'm still debating on flush mounting the fenders and the headlight bulkheads like I did the rear. So I'm gonna try to paint these and mount them to the front of the fender as best I can, because these were way off and I did some shaving and adjusting to make it work. And I think that I'm just gonna go for bolting these up versus trying to flush mount them, because I'm gonna do some body work on that one too, because this one was really off, because this is the fender that got hit this side. So I've got quite a bit of work to do. Quite a bit of work. And then over here is like a huge paint run from the previous painter. Yeah, right there. I personally didn't see it because it was like body worked, but now that I got it covered, that's why I put a base coat on it, so I could see all the imperfections before I actually just commit to painting the car. So that's gonna get sanded out. And then there was a spot where this had a hole in it and I filled it in. And I'm gonna go back over it and fill it in some more. And then, you know, we'll keep working with it. So I know I got some more spots on this thing. I think they're just down low. These are just markers to remind me to paint inside the wheel well. But for the most part, the trunk, here's the back of the trunk. It's already sanded down. Weather stripping's out of it. Got to reseal it. Really debating on pulling this latch off. Really debating on that. But because I had to do so much work to the trunk to get it straight, and I'm really debating on it. I've already marked it and scribed it. So even if I do take it off, it'll possibly be back in the same spot. I scratched it really good. Put a deep scratch in there so I know exactly where it goes. So may or may not take that off and paint it. I'm going to paint it no matter what, but I may or may not take that off. I might just leave it the way it is and just paint over it. I don't see that coming off anytime soon. Got a little flash rusting going on. Like I said, I did this a few days ago on that. Got to put the insulation. That's the insulation that goes here in the backing. I don't care if I get some paint or clear on that. For the most part, I just want a little bit of color on it. I want the main color I want on the outside edges. I'm going to paint the entire thing. Like I said, I don't care if I get any paint in this area whatsoever. I'm going to clear the whole thing, just the areas that are exposed. And then I'm going to get some 3M glue in a can, mist it down up in there, or at least on the back side of that stuff, and then shove it back in, and then put the plastic covering that goes back over it, because you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that stuff or this stuff ever. Once that cover's on, you're not going to see it. It's just going to be gone. Yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much it. So I guess I'm going to set up the camera for the time lapse. I got my little curtain up to separate from my streaming equipment that's back there, you know, see my streaming equipment. And long story short, when I start painting, I drop that curtain down, and then I've got a fan with a tube that directs it back and then up out the back. So I close this door, and that's my paint booth, you know. So it's not traditional, but it is what it is. So there's my little fan down there, and I got a tube that connects to it, and it just sucks the air. So I put the curtain over the top of it, and it just pulls the air out, and it goes up and out the back. So I got a ventilation fan in the back. So that was used for painting aircraft parts. That's what this place kind of was used for beforehand. So the car's coming out really slick, really smooth, really straight. For that matter, got the door jambs lined up. I knew I was going to drop it. I was trying not to drop it. I was trying to open the door for y'all, but I kind of... there we go. I got it. So here's the handle. And now you can see how smooth and clean the door closes. Perfect. And when I put the rubber bumps in there, it'll, yeah, it's perfect. Ain't perfect, but it's, you know, as good as it's gonna get with me. Anyway, enough talking. That's like 12 minutes of yapping. I feel like a lot of YouTube videos talk. Okay, what I've discovered is that these are not bolted in like they should be. So if you come around here, this side, you have to take apart the entire rear interior to get to the inside of here, to get to the bolts that are supposed to be there. But what I found, as you can see, is like some type of putty material on the back of them, on top of it. You can tell they sanded it right there. Get the camera to focus. Yeah, like right there, they sanded on it. So, not sure about that at all. But I guarantee that this other side is not even bolted in. This was an afterthought. Yep. Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. All right. So the file that I had spraying got corrupted, so I kind of lost that. I mean, it's basically just spraying clear coat and finishing up. But this is probably, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes after spraying it, so it's super wet. Stuff hasn't truly settled yet. Don't worry about the hood because I'm going to redo that. A matte black. This is how the end caps turned out, flush mounted. Came out really good. I have a better process that I'll do if I ever do this to somebody else's car. I'll go a different route. I did a different process for the front that I like a lot better. Makes it a lot stronger. This is the worst part of doing paint and body. It's the color sanding. This is the scariest part. It's also the most critical part because this is what you see when everything's all said and done. Polished this thing out from 800, worked my way up to 5,000 grit, 500 increments. So super slick, super smooth. The only downside to this is if you wash it with any type of regular towel, it will scratch it. You go to some type of drive-through car wash, it will scratch it. So car's all back together. This is supposed to be a 30-day project, and it wound up taking 4.5 months. So this is just basically showing you all the little details, just getting in there. A lot of people on YouTube or just in general won't show you the close-up. You can see the clear reflections on everything, super detailed. I'm not trying to hide any work. I spent a lot of time on this, well underpaid. Like I said, I'm not trying to like bash anybody, but like when you get yourself into something that you can't really take back, like you just got to put your head down and get to work. And that's what this was. Lots of 20-hour days, some 24-hour days, some 48-hour day, like work days. Like you really lose yourself when you have this much work to do, especially by yourself. You know, if there was a team of guys, of course this would go a lot quicker. But then you have like a trust factor. Do you trust the next guy to go to that next level of detail? You know, because you don't really know what they're doing, and you're sitting there trying to hold their hand and babysit them. And, you know, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. I'm a firm believer in that, but, this is a project that definitely challenged me. I used to do stuff like this all the time, years ago, and got back into it. It's very therapeutic. If it was my own car, it would definitely be to this standard. I'd like to treat people, how I would want to be treated. As you can see, every little aspect of the car was gone over. I actually resprayed this car 3 times, just because I wasn't happy with it in certain places, or got a little too carried away with the color sanding. It happens, and it's really irritating when it happens. But when it's a base clear setup, 2-stage. This is not a single stage. This is 2-stage. I use a really thick high solic. When you get to this point, and you say if you do mess up a panel or something like that, or something gets damaged, or you went too far color sanding, it's a lot easier to fix because you have everything there at the same time frame. So you can see the door jambs are lined up. The gaps are better. The door closes perfectly, like it's a brand new OEM car. Nothing's crooked. Mind you, every single panel on this car was warped, hacked, chopped up in some form of fashion. So what I did here to the headlight buckets, I metalworked those as well. So those headlight buckets are like a cast aluminum, and the fenders are steel. And you just got to take an angle grinder to them. You know, get them as close as you can, body work the rest. I used a different method for the rear. It was more of like a very heavy duty epoxy to mold those with a little bit of filler to get the rear the way it is, but it's not as strong as the front. You could probably literally stand on the front headlight buckets and nothing will happen to them. But the rear is a little bit more sensitive, so I instructed the customer, don't push on the headlight buckets. In case you ever have a breakdown or run out of gas or car show or something, do not push the buckets, push on the trunk. So, like I said, I do have a better process of molding things in to make them super, super strong. Yeah, this is the front end. That's how that came out. It was super crooked before. If you rewind the video and go back and look, you'll see how bad the alignment didn't line up. So he had a huge hole in the torque box where the frame slides into the unibody. That was completely gone, completely rusted. I just started taking the angle grinder to it and cutting it out and chiseling away at it. I had some steel plates, welded those in, boxed it all back in, and then that's a little before. And just to show you where this thing truly came from, it was just so much work.